Greetings, fellow humans, and welcome to another Tea with JD. And this is actually not going to be a tag. This is actually going to be a discussion video. And I think it's been a while since we did one of those. Hot black tea. I've done a bunch of tags. I've done, tags, top 5 Wednesdays, and other stuff, and manuscript Mondays. But I don't think I've done a discussion video in a while. So yeah. Welcome back. This is actually inspired by Christy Stratos. She had some tips recently about advice that you shouldn't take or that she does not like. And I was like, this is so right, because there are things that we hear that we go like, that's not right. It's not good advice. That's terrible advice. So with that in mind, here are some tips you should not pay attention to. And I'm going to keep this relatively short so we can enter a discussion. But first off, anything that says you have to do something, 10 things you have to do. The operative word for raising a flag is have. You don't have to do anything. You can do, you should do, you might consider doing, but you don't have to do anything. I hate when people say you have to do this to be successful, or you have to do this to be blah 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 blah. No, your path is not my path. Is not my path. It's not anyone else's path. Your path is your path. So by all means, see what works for you and try it out. The way that you're more flexible with trying things out, the more you will find what works for you. What works for you does not work for everyone else. There are certain things that do work for more people. That's fine, but there's nothing that you have to do. If it sounds right, feels right, smells right, then go for it. Otherwise, tip number 2. Not tip number 2. Second thing you shouldn't do. Any change that you have to do to appeal more to the market. I hate any creative decision based on profit. Yes, we want to sell books. Yes, we want a ton of people to read our books. But doing something just to cater to a market rather than obey what the story demands, that's kind of, I don't know, just leaves a sour taste in my mouth. I'm not sure you, but to me that leaves a really bad taste in my mouth. Leaves some tainted tuna taste in my mouth. Some alliteration fun. I've heard a lot of things. People say, "Oh, you wrote vampires. That's awesome because you did it to appeal to the market." No, I did it because I like vampires. You did X or Y thing because you're appealing to the market. No, everything I do, everything I write is because I enjoy what I'm doing and I believe in it. I don't do it because the market tendencies. I don't want to be a Greek yogurt. I don't want to be balsamic vinaigrette dressing. I don't want to be cherry tomatoes. I don't want to be sun-dried anything. I don't want to be something that passes with time. I want to be something that someone picks up and says, "Wow, that was awesome." That's what drives me. I'm not gonna write a love triangle unless I think it makes sense, or I'm interested in it. I don't want Team Edward and Team whatever. I don't need that. I don't need to force romance. If it happens organically in the story, then wonderful. But I'm not gonna include it to, I have my checklist. Okay, I got some drama, I got a love triangle, I got some romance, I got some diversity to include diversity. No, I write diversely in certain things because it's something that's important to me, not because, if you want to make it in the market, you should write diversely. I don't care. Caring about the market is not caring about your readers. That is as blunt as I can say it, and it pisses me off to no end that people say, because the market, whatever. Don't think of the market. Don't think of what sells. If it's your first book, write the most honest book, and then See what else you can do that people will like. I'm following no blueprints. I'm following no Machiavellic plan for success. I'm writing stories that I believe in, that I wholeheartedly believe in, and that are very me. I'm not cutting corners just to make people more comfortable, and I'm not checking off boxes. By the way, in regards to the market, most literary agents and people are guessing. These are like books are like viral videos, except that they come in book form. You don't always know what's going to be successful. Some things you go like, oh, that's going to be successful, but other things just spring up on you, and you go like, really, that's successful? Okay. You just have to follow your vision and your heart, and eventually you'll at least be proud of what you did. And you won't feel like a literary hooker. I don't know. Next thing to take into consideration, you can't make a word X pages long. Do it as long or as short as you think is proper, but be honest about it. I think that Only Human was a tad long, but I'm not bothered so much by the length as I was by the rhythm of it. Only Human starts off as a slow burner and picks up momentum. And I kind of like that. But I am banking on people having the patience. I'm not saying that the first 100 pages are bad. I'm saying that there's a lot of world building and that it's not as quick of a read as the second half or the remaining 300 pages. And that's a reality I have to accept, and it's not something that bothers me. But it's 164,000 words long. It's not a light read. And for that to be my first book, what the hell was I thinking? I don't know. I wasn't thinking. I was writing the story the way that it had to be written. And that's why I believe in my work, because I don't cut words. 164. Well, if I can take it to 150, that would be more marketable. I don't care. Make it as long or as short as you need it to do the story correctly. The thing is that some people write 400,000 word manuscripts, and they're proud. Oh my God, it's such a huge, chunky book. But it begs the question: is it a good book? Does it flow? Does it have rhythm? Does it compel you to read those 400,000 words, or should it be divided? When you're honest with your work, you know what works and what doesn't work. I've read my works multiple times, so I know that at least they're readable. If it takes you 3 months to read your own book, what do you expect from your readers? But again, don't limit yourself. No, that book is too long. People aren't going to read it. You don't know. No one knows. Maybe people are in the mood to read a 300,000 word book. Why not? Oh, because it's a lot of reading. Some people get turned on by big books. Size does matter. But they go like, yeah, this is a challenge, so go for it. But be honest with your work and don't focus on word count. Focus on the story. Other things, recommendations that I've seen elsewhere. Oh, you should have an automatic message on Twitter and other social media. I hate that shit. I hate it. I hate it so much. I'm motivated to write people, and then I get the automatic message, and I go like, ugh. Because it's prepackaged, and in a time where we can connect so easily, having things be prepackaged is kind of crappy. Would you rather the pre-made meal, or would you rather a meal that was made in the moment with fresh ingredients, fresh words, fresh message, fresh intention? I will always go for fresh. I have to take a day and a half to write all the new followers on Twitter, but I'm gonna do it because I don't do automatic messages. If you wanna do it, that's fine, but make it very memorable, and make it in a way that it doesn't leave a bad taste in the mouth of the person who gets the message. I've gotten several automatic messages. Some are great. Some actually make me go like, you know what, I'm going to engage this person. Others make me want to punch them in the face. You know, I'm very pro community efforts, and automatic messages, if they're not well made, are the most detrimental thing to that. So, one last thing. Anything that's an absolute or blanket statements, all blah 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 have to do blah blah blah. Snake oil salesmen know how to sell snake oil. They don't know how to give you what you need. Absolute or blanket statements rarely apply to more than 50% of the general population. You know, everyone has to do this. If you're not doing this, you're wrong. That's just ways of phrasing things, marketing tactics to get you to say, "Oh, this person knows what they're talking about." That's why on this channel and on my blog, you will never see "you have to do this," "you must do this," "everyone should do this," because I have no clue. You know, it's working for me, but what works for me might not work for you, might not work for another person, might work for the third person, but the first two didn't work. And it's not a bad thing, because that's taking into account that human experience is a subjective thing, and it's a singular thing. We are snowflakes. But anything that's an absolute, don't pay attention to that. That's my only recommendation in terms of that. Read it, but read it with the grain of salt, and saying, let's see if this works for me. And if it doesn't work for you, don't try it. If it doesn't feel right, don't try it. All of this is all tips that you see anywhere are not rules. Everything is a suggestion. So if the suggestion sounds like something that will work for you, go for it. If not, don't go for it. Some people say, "Oh, but because you're trying to put the blame on someone else for your success or your failures." And that's just silly. And you have to be accountable for your success or your failures. And I followed the 10 steps to this and it didn't work. Did you do it correctly? Well, I did exactly like you said it in the book. Don't put it on the other person. Put it on yourself. See the advice, see what works for you, bite the bullet and go for it. But don't look for easy outs or excuses if you don't succeed. So, yeah, and you don't have to pay attention to me. You can say I'm full of it, and I don't care. But if any of this makes sense, by all means apply it and find your method, whatever it is. But find it, actively find it, pursue it hungrily. Because if not, no one's going to give you a how-to that's going to be guaranteed to work. That's just the way that the cookie crumbles. And it's not a bad thing. Again, this is your ride. Do it on your terms. So with that in mind, and tea in hand, peace, love, and maki rolls.